Mac vs. Wild. We have 3 competitors.
Okay.
Who could be going up against you? You are in one corner, in the other corner of the Colosseum, Mac.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather see a big-teethed monkey, a rhino, or sharks?
So, for sure not the rhino. Let's rule the rhino out off the top.
Really?
Yeah, for sure not the rhino. That thing would fucking there's a 0% chance you can beat a rhino. There's no avenue.
May I step in?
Okay.
I think the rhino is the dumbest and clumsiest. I might take the rhino. Use my agility.
You would be dead in a second.
All I had to do was throw sand in its face. Sand attack.
The sharks is interesting because, like, if you fall into the water, you're not going to win. But maybe you could poach it from above. I don't know. I don't feel great about the shark.
Well, are we also saying with the shark that someone else is attacking you from on land and you could be knocked into the water? So it's a second obstacle.
Not great. Not great.
Okay.
Whatever scenario with the shark is not great. The monkey is, also not enjoyable, especially if it's got large tooths and
Talons.
it's all yoked up.
Yeah.
So you're losing in all 3 scenarios. I think you would have the best shot to get one of these monkeys, especially if you're chained up with a chain. But I'm telling you, you're going 0 for 3 because you can't kill the rhino. You probably can't kill the shark. You would have a chance at killing a monkey. You would feel good about it.
The monkey that is in this movie are like giant zombie monkeys that are your size.
They were like baboon almost.
Giant teeth. And they're very, very strong. And they're out for blood. They know what they're doing. They understand murder and they're cool with it. The other animals.
Once they realized there was an alpha in the ring, things flipped.
You think a monkey's going to look at you and say, that's the alpha?
All it had to do was bite its forearm, I guess.
Is it one of these?
Some of the funniest videos, by the way, people at the zoo going like this to monkeys and monkeys flip it out.
I probably wouldn't recommend that.
I think if there's an animal that could scale a zoo wall, it would be a monkey, right?
If there's an animal that could take the bars of a jail cell and stretch them open like this and then get out, it's a monkey.
Yeah, you're going 0 for 3 in this scenario, no doubt.
One, 2, 3, yeah! Jaws 3! King of Queens! Meryl Streep! Entertainment!
I'm Goo!
And I'm Mac.
And we have our sandals on, and we're playing with wheat, and we are ready to pull out our swords and gingerly touch tips.
Yeah, what a great description of our experience watching Gladiator 2 this past week. And Goo, let me tell you, well, first of all, what are your thoughts on the original Gladiator to set the stage here?
Classic.
It is a classic.
It's a classic movie.
It's not one of my all-time favorites, but it's a classic, right?
And also, it's one of those movies that crosses over between blockbuster and Academy Award type movie.
Right. Yeah, it has mass appeal for sure. And it was a movie that, like, when we were kids, it was always like, short before 8 Mile came out, of course. Gladiator was a lot of kids' favorite movie because
it also is a movie that has an all-time character played by a movie star. Whereas, like, sometimes, it's a guy that's like up and coming, kind of fades away. Russell Crowe is one of those all-time movie stars.
And to that point, you got the second aspect there. You got the up-and-coming Joaquin Phoenix with an all-time villain as well. So it was a great combination.
Oh, and also, the action in the first one is outstanding. And the pacing between... Well, I think the pacing between the action is also crucial, too, where it lets you take in the action, sit back a little bit, and then another great scene.
Yeah, great revenge story. It's a really good movie.
Great end of the movie as well.
And so that movie came out in the year 2000. This movie comes out 24 years later, and it's set 20 years later. And basically, we'll get into this further, but basically what this movie does was like, hey, you liked Gladiator? Here's more of that, but less good.
Yeah, it's hey, that giant wear its shadow.
I was hoping for more, and there's a character in here played by Denzel Washington that was legitimately intriguing and interesting. And there's a lot of shit going on
Mhm.
in the Roman Empire, and we just really honed in on the same little thing, and it was a little bothersome.
But also, people keep on making this point of like, well, did this movie need to get made? I would argue that most things don't need to get made.
Sure, sure.
So, like, the answer is like probably no, but also it's entertaining enough that you're not mad that it was made.
Yeah, well, yes, and I'm not mad, but I'm like,
Mac walked
it
out of the
felt lazy.
theater
It felt
pissed.
lazy.
I will say
Because
this, and
because the
this
story writes itself, and they literally added nothing more to it, right? So at the end of the first Gladiator, Marcus Aurelius's Maximus's illegitimate son,
yes,
from the princess or queen, I don't know what you would call her, empress,
she's a
Lucilla,
queen now. She's a queen now.
is alive, Lucius.
Yes.
And obviously Commodus is dead as well. So he's in play, right? And so there's
Mhm.
like a natural story to build here, which is the route they go down. They just like it's so basic and so simple, and there's no frills to it
I'll say
whatsoever.
this though, credit to me. Going into the movie, I did not see the trailer that reveals that he is Maximus's son, and I didn't read any of the synopsi. I didn't even know.
Dude, they literally when Mezcal was casted, they said he was playing Maximus's son.
I didn't read any of it. So I didn't know.
Okay.
So like going, I'm like that's a decent little reveal. And then I read everything after. I'm like, oh, they told us.
Yeah, it was explicit that
Do
this is
you
what the
think that they
story
should
was
have
gonna be.
withheld that reveal?
No, like because when you think back to the end of the first Gladiator, that's like the unsolved thing there, right? So they
Mm.
both die in the middle of the ring. Lucius is in play, so it's like a natural evolution, I guess. And then I don't know, like it.
I mean, this
The
movie had to add some lore to it, like, well, then he ran away, and now
Yeah, that's
he's
what
going to
like
be a
that was
gladiator.
stupid. Like it could have just been better. They didn't need to make him do the exact
Exact same
same.
thing. They didn't need to
Yeah.
fridge his wife like they did in the
Yes.
first movie.
Yes. Yes.
These aren't
So that
spoilers, by the way.
that's the lazy
It's
shit
the
I'm
first
talking
5
about.
minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
first, I will say this though, is that first battle scene when they're hucking fireballs back and forth, and Pedro Pascal is like, I hate war, but he's also smirking like, I'm really good at this. I'm like, this is fun. This
That
is
was the
still fun
that
stuff.
was the most fun and best action in the whole movie.
Yes.
The Colosseum stuff was pretty
Well,
underwhelming.
because you're sitting back going like, I would have fought this animal differently.
No. The CGI good. The CGI of this movie was dog water. It was fucking garbage.
I didn't
It
mind the
was so
rhino.
bad.
The sharks weren't
The
great.
rhino was okay because it was one.
The
The sharks
monkeys
weren't
yelling
good.
in my
The
face.
monkeys
Just
were
stop it.
horrible.
Stop
So bad.
that.
And the couple times we saw like some mortal wounds, or for example, an arm getting cut off,
Mhm.
that CGI was bad too.
That wasn't great. And before we get to the nuts and bolts, something that, and I found out the day after, that
Mhm.
might hurt my viewing of this movie is across the hall from me was a viewing of the movie Y2K that I passed on to see Gladiator 2. And because I don't know how to read, in the email, it even said, Kyle Mooney will be at this screening.
Real
I missed
bummer
out
for
on
you.
meeting Kyle Mooney.
Yeah, Kyle Mooney is a soulmate of yours, I think.
I would have brought up Brigsby Bear, and then I would have quoted every Bruce Chandling joke that I know. Like, I would have said to him, like, hey, I didn't realize you were going to be here because I don't know how to read cursive. And then he'd be like, you don't know how to read cursive to read an email. I'd be like, well, I also don't know how to read regular either.
Go!
Yes, Mac.
Gladiator 2 is an R-rated Epin. There you go.
Eppin.
Epic. I need an EpiPen after watching it. Epic action, adventure, and drama.
What were you allergic to?
I just needed a boost of adrenaline.
Oh, okay.
Subgenres here, Goo. Action epic, adventure epic, period drama, and now my new favorite subgenre, Goo. Sword and Sandal.
Yeah, Sword
That's
and
right.
Sandal.
Sword
That's
and
what I was.
Sandal movie.
When I was watching it, I was like, Sword and Sandal wise, it's not at the Gladiator level, but it's at the level of the Sword and Sandal movies that followed Gladiator.
Yeah,
Slightly
so
better.
Here, like Gladiator, I guess would maybe be the gold standard for that type of
Yes.
movie. This movie is more in the Troy realm of movies, right? Where it's like, yeah, it did a couple good things, but ultimately it wasn't that good.
It introduced some interesting characters, but you wanted them to kind of go elsewhere.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the two best characters in this movie don't get as much screen time as they
And
deserve.
also, the guys that you are meant to root against, there's nothing redeemable about them.
Mm.
So, like you want that thin line of like, do I like this bad guy? No, there's nothing good about these bad guys.
Goo, this movie's projected for 65 to 75 million in opening weekend
Yeah.
here, which will be second
Is that a
reportedly
drop
projected.
from the opening forecast?
I have no idea.
Because
No
I think
clue.
the opening forecast might have been around 90.
Okay. All right. And Wicked is projected for 120 to 140. And if you're thinking back to Barbenheimer, I
Mhm.
believe Oppenheimer made 80 or 90, and
Yeah.
Barbie made like 120 or 140 or 150 or something like that. Huge weekend. Goo, you have your hand raised.
I wouldn't be surprised if Wicked tops 150 or even gets closer like to like the crazy numbers. Like it's doing so well with the critics, with the people that a lot of people have already seen it though. But like that movie, what did Deadpool make? Deadpool made like a ridiculous in their first weekend. It might be around there.
I don't remember what Deadpool made. Yeah, so Wicked is doing extremely well in both metrics, audience and critics. This movie's doing solid in those metrics. So if there are people going to the theater this weekend making their decision based off
205
that,
million opening weekend.
oh, okay, so it won't get there.
It might
Uh,
get around 200. It might
it
do it.
won't get that high
You
because
know
of
why
this
it won't? You're right.
competition.
It's too long.
It is longer than this movie somehow.
So
Longer than this movie.
maybe can they show it less? Like they won't be able to get that extra screening in
That's part
because
of it.
of the yeah.
That's part of it. Yeah.
What do I
This
know?
movie, Goo, has a runtime of 148 minutes, so essentially 2.5 hours. And you do feel it. You do feel it.
It's weird though
It's not paced
because
very well.
no, because at points it feels too long, but then at the end it feels too rushed.
Yeah, it's bizarre for sure.
Do you
And that's
think
a
we're gonna
writing
get
issue.
a Ridley Scott cut though, where it's like an extra half an hour long? No, I'm being serious, and it kind of feels better at the end. Like it feels
Well,
more
I don't know.
smoothed out.
We'll talk about Ridley Scott in a second because I think we're sort of figuring out that he ain't got it no more.
I would
Goo,
argue that he would say that you're a fucking idiot.
on Roddy T's Goose, speaking of, this has 71% from the critics, 85% from the audience. So in general, the majority of people are liking it. Compare that to the original movie that had 80% from the critics, 87% from the audience. So people are just basically saying a step down from that movie. I would say
in real life. It's not
I would say it's probably 2 or 3 steps down.
Yeah.
On Metacritic, a 63. The original got a 67. It's a baseline solid movie. It just
Yeah.
feels lazy because it was like it should have been better. It should have
Not
been
to
better
tip
than
my
what we
hot
got.
dog hand, which
Mhm.
I think I'm just going to start calling my hands that. Like it's a C plus. It's a C plus.
Yeah. I might even venture down into like the C minus range, but
Oh,
it's in that
no.
range. I don't know if I'd go C plus, but maybe. It's in the C range either way.
Okay.
Goo, this movie is written by Peter Craig, who we've actually talked about a couple times now recently. He wrote The Town, Hunger Games Mockingjay Parts 1 and 2, Bad Boys for Life, The Batman, and Top Gun Maverick. So he's really starting to do these 20-year later sequels.
Yeah,
With
I was
Bad
going to
Boys for
say
Life, Top Gun, and now this.
for legacy sequel wise, like I think this is like right on the line of what it should be. Like it shouldn't be any worse than this, and it could have been a lot better.
This was, to me, it's like, it's got to be better than this if we're gonna make these movies, right? This just like, all right, fine. I'm not mad it got made, but it should be better than this.
Because I would argue that this is right around, if not slightly better than Beetlejuice.
No, Beetlejuice was much better than this.
I don't think it was.
Yeah, I thought it was much better than this. But you also had sky high expectations for
But also,
Beetlejuice.
once again, nowhere near Top Gun Maverick. But Top Gun
Not even
Maverick
close.
has the leg up on every other legacy sequel because the first Top Gun is terrible.
You're right. It does help that the second movie is better than the first.
It's way better. It's a Like, you know how the first Gladiator is at a completely different level than what this
Yeah,
is? It's
yeah.
the other way around.
Yeah, they flipped the script on
But
us
I would
here.
say that Gladiator 2 is better than the first Top Gun movie.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So,
Yeah, yeah, you're
is that
probably
how
right.
we should do legacy sequels now? Is it better than the first Top Gun?
Dude, the second writer on this movie is David Scarpa. He's been a Ridley Scott guy. He wrote the day the Earth stood still, All the Money in the World, and that crappy Napoleon movie that came out last year. Upcoming, he's doing the Cleopatra movie. So there you go. He's really
Who's
found his
directing
niche.
Cleopatra?
I don't know. Maybe Ridley Scott. I'm not sure.
Is it? Well, it wouldn't be an attachment to Napoleon. It'd be way ahead of time.
You're way behind.
Unless we do time travel.
Yeah.
Like the original Gladiator 2 was supposed to do.
I didn't see Napoleon. Maybe they introduced time travel in that.
I mean, Ridley Scott wouldn't be against that.
Speaking of, this is
What, were
directed
you
by
there?
Ridley Scott.
Were you there? Do you fucking know?
And I'm not going to run through Ridley Scott's illustrious career, and he is one of the all-time great directors. However, Goo, and I did a quick peek here, I don't think I've really liked a Ridley Scott movie in 17 years. American Gangster was the last one I really liked.
I didn't even love American Gangster.
So before that, it probably was, what's the one that came out after Gladiator? It was Gladiator, and then he had one in 01 that I liked too, and I can't remember the name of it. It escapes me. So we're talking maybe, if you didn't love American Gangster, it's been 20 plus years since Scott's done a great movie.
But also,
And
he's one of my favorite directors because he yells at us so much.
well, like he does have the resume, and he has plenty of
absolutely.
all-time great movies.
Yeah.
I just don't think he has it anymore. And that's a common
Like,
thing with most directors.
He might be on the Mount Rushmore of modern day directors. Like when I say modern day, I mean like post 1975.
Yeah, it'd be hard to argue against his resume for sure. And even when he
Spielberg,
missed
Cameron,
so the one thing
yeah.
I'll say about Ridley Scott is the movies that don't crush it, like the Alien sequels, for example, are still solid movies. So it's like baseline, you're getting an okay experience, you know? He's not making complete dog shit.
Right, but he also like jumps in and out of the Alien franchise though.
Yes,
It's
he
not
does.
all him.
Agreed. Give synopsis.
I'm glad we agree.
Of Gladiator 2. After his home is conquered by the tyrannical emperors who now lead Rome, Lucius is forced to enter the Colosseum and must look to his past to find strength to return the glory of Rome to its people.
I mean, you could just swap out Lucius with Maximus.
Yeah, it's again, this movie is like,
But once
hey,
again,
did you
it's
like
not-
Gladiator?
It's not bad though.
It's not, but because it's so lazy, I wouldn't blame someone if they called it bad. You know what I mean? Like
No,
it doesn't build it out any further. It just takes the blueprint from the first one. And I was thinking about this because we have talked about, hey, you know, fan service, where fans give us what we like. But if you take a movie that's 24 years in the making and give us a movie that does the same things as its first movie, but worse, that's not the same. That is not the same.
I think it almost is like it could have been a bridge if they had cut the movie off around the 2-hour mark, that it could have been a bridge to a really good third movie in the trilogy if they wanted to do that. But they kind of killed off some stuff at the end that got rid of that, unless they want to start time traveling again.
The 2001 Ridley Scott movie I was thinking of was Black Hawk Down.
Oh,
That's a great
that is a
movie.
good one. That's a great one.
Yeah.
That's one of those. Would you put that on the Mount Rushmore of TNT movies?
It's like a perfect cable
It's a
TV
Saturday
war movie.
afternoon TNT movie.
Yeah. And that's probably how most of us watched it when we were younger.
You know
'cause
what?
were
We should do a
12 when it came
podcast
out.
on that. Best basic cable movies.
Anything with Jeremy Renner, the Bourne movies.
Nicolas
And
Cage,
then-
late 90s.
Yes. Yep. Goo,
Okay, we got something.
this movie stars Connie Nielsen as Lucilla, reprising her role from the first movie. She, of course, had the baby out of wedlock with
Ooh.
Maximus in the first movie.
Ooh.
Paul Mescal as Lucius, the aforementioned Lucius, who is Maximus's illegitimate son, Lucilla's son. Denzel Washington as Macrinus, who, first of all, I got to give him a little credit. He's not totally Denzeling it up. He's doing
No.
it. He's playing the character enough. And to me, by far the most interesting character in this movie. And we don't get nearly enough of how he came to be.
Right. And also, we can't really describe his character without spoiling. So, the one thing that I will say about him is the worst part of this entire movie is his kissing sound effect. It made my skin crawl every single time.
He kisses a lot of hands in this movie, that's for sure.
No, but the sound though.
Well, maybe he's got juicy lips, Goo.
Have you not considered Denzel's?
Big fan of Carmax.
But
no, not Carmax. Carmax. Carmax? Is that what it's called? The yellow tube shit? Goo. Pedro Pascal as Marcus Acius, I think. I think that's how you say it. Joseph Quinn as Emperor Geta. And then this was the funniest moment of the movie to me because I didn't realize there was going to be a second Emperor. I thought they did a CGI version of a smaller Joseph Quinn. Fred Heckinger as the smaller Emperor Caracalla, and laugh out loud the way he looks.
When they first hopped on the screen,
fella.
When they first hopped on the screen, I was like, "Oh, it's the McBoyles." Nice. But then as the movie kept on going and they kept on adding makeup to them and their big rosy cheeks, from the syphilis, I was like, they look just like Stewart from Mad TV, both of them. One of them's a smaller version. Look what I can do. Talk
They do
to
look
the
exactly like
microphone. Let the gods decide.
Dude, the only other
smaller one, the smaller one also
Caracalla.
looked like, he also looked like Timmy from Passions, who was a doll.
The only other two characters whose names you would probably need to remember from this movie are Tim McInerney as Thrax. I don't even remember what they called him in the movie. And Alexander Kareem as Ravi. He's the doctor of
I liked him, actually. He was a good character. I liked him a lot.
He was a good character, but they just used him for Lucius to give us, some like backstory stuff,
This doesn't spoil. My favorite part of the movie, I actually cackled. No one else laughed. Everyone in my fucking my theater was an idiot. Is when he goes and does something and he goes and finds a soldier. He runs up and he pushes another soldier out of the way. And the way that he did it was the funniest thing in the movie. He's like, "Get out of here." Like one-handed shove.
Goo, I wouldn't say high expectations for this movie. When this movie was announced, I expected almost nothing because we're talking a 24-year later sequel. However, once we saw the trailers, we're like, oh, we got something here. And that built up a little bit of intrigue. And so I had reasonable expectations, I felt like. And I felt like this fell short of those expectations.
I think it met right what I was expecting. I was expecting middling. And while it was middling,
the laziest version of this movie possible.
And while it was middling, let me finish. I was entertained enough. Like, it was definitely clunky at points. The pacing was a bit off. The fighting in it was not at the caliber of the first movie. The characters, I don't think, were at the caliber of the first movie. And this movie was also too reliant on, hey, you guys like that first movie? Yeah, we do. Yeah. Should I just go watch that one instead?
Yeah, it was that. And then I think they were really banking on their Coliseum scenes hitting, and it just didn't for me. They didn't hit at all. They were fucking like.
Also, what is the timeline of this movie? How long does it take to fill the Colosseum with water and then also drain the water and not have it, have that flood look to it?
Yeah, I question the viability of that, and also the
they used to do that. They used to actually do the water boat fights
in a different era of the Colosseum, though, as we discovered.
It's all one thing. You weren't there.
No, I like the idea of it. I'm just telling you, the sharks looked like fucking shit, which were not even as bad as the monkeys. So there was just a lot of issues in that respect, and I think they were hoping that those would be the tent poles of the movie, these 3 Colosseum scenes, and they were not at all.
I understand why they added the sharks, because thinking about it, okay, adding sharks to this is cool, but you didn't really need the sharks. The soldiers that are being shot or bow and arrowed and falling into the water, they're going to die anyways. So the sharks are kind of pointless. I thought one of those sharks was going to breach the boat. You know how in the year 2000 we discovered that sharks can jump out of the water and, fly into the sun or whatever the hell they do?
Specifically in the year 2000?
In the year 2000. In the year 2000. I thought we were going to get some fucking breaching sharks.
Yeah, that maybe would have been cooler than what we got. I don't know. It just wasn't great.
The people in the water were already dead.
Goo,
Yeah.
I thought there was 3 really good characters in this movie, 2 of which we didn't get enough screen time of. Number
Oh,
1, I thought
were
I
they really good or just good?
no, really good,
Okay.
but didn't add much to the movie because we didn't get enough background for them. Paul Mescal as Lucius, I thought was very good.
He was
I
good.
haven't seen him before. I know he's been around these last couple of years, but I haven't really seen anything he's been in. I thought that worked out well.
It's also not fair to compare him to Maximus.
No, no,
No.
not at all. The 2
Because if
best
you
characters in
are,
this
it's, not really close.
Sure. The 2 best characters in this movie to me by a mile were Denzel Washington's Macrinus and Joseph Quinn's Emperor Geta. And we get some of Macrinus. We get a little bit of his background when he's talking to Lucius later in the movie. But once you learn like where he was and who he became and his story, that was the most interesting part of the movie. And I felt like that should have been the driving factor of the movie, because in the third act, that is the driving factor of what's going on. But the problem is they didn't build out that character enough for us to really care. And on top of it, Joseph Quinn plays a great son of a bitch, but there's just not enough of him. We needed more son
But
of a bitch Joseph
there's
Quinn.
nothing redeemable about him though. So it's
No,
like
but
he's
which is
just a
fine.
son of a bitch.
But that's fine because you have Macrinus, who is that sort of borderline character, or at least at first you're not really sure what his intentions are. So you have the established son of a bitch and the established good guy, and Macrinus somewhere in the middle. And they just didn't play upon that enough because, again, this is a really lazily written movie.
I also would have liked a lot more from Pedro Pascal's character. I think there was more to tell there as well.
Yeah, but you knew, like, the minute the things got going, you knew where his story was going to end up.
Shall we get into the
Oh,
non-nego? Yeah,
and
what?
also, not for nothing, Connie Nielsen, she wasn't great. She wasn't great.
It's okay.
She was okay, I guess. She wasn't great.
Fun factor. I loved the battle at the beginning, and I will accept the rhino fight. I thought the monkey fight was pretty ridiculous, but I did like Mescal's, Creed-like training sequences. They weren't as like crazy as a Rocky movie, but there were some things of like, this guy just won't stop.
You know what the coolest thing in this whole movie was, which
Tell me.
happened in the first one too, is them running up the stairs to the Colosseum. The
Mhm.
way Mescal hops around, the way that Russell Crowe did it 24 years ago. Awesome. Looks cool. This movie attempts to have a lot of fun. For me, it didn't really happen. But you're right, that opening fight scene when Pascal is leading his army to Mezcal in that African country, that was great. I
Yeah.
wanted more of that. Dude, you know what that felt like? Aquaworld.
Waterworld?
Waterworld. There you go.
Do you even know the name of your own favorite movie?
I was looking at the Aquaterworld here.
Yeah. Satisfactory.
Aquaworld. Better title for a sequel than Gladiator 2. Although I do like that they used the Roman numeral, because
But it also
Rome.
confused me because it turned Gladiator into Gladiator with 2 eyes.
True.
Okay. Satisfactor, we got where we needed to go, but really had a tough time getting there by the end.
Yeah, because Maximus dies in the first movie, you know exactly what's not going to happen in this movie, and that makes the end really predictable. And so there's not much satisfying that occurs here.
Borometer. I don't know if I was ever truly bored during my first time watching this movie. I would expect that I would never watch this again, and if I did, I would be very bored. But my first time through, I was decently intrigued throughout.
I closed my eyes a couple times during this movie, just for a brief minute. Now, granted, I was the tie boy when I saw it.
Who are you, me?
I was bored. I was bored a couple times during this movie. And like the overarching revenge story in this is like innately a good story if they had added anything more to it than what we got in the first one. So I don't know. It was just boring, predictable.
Oh, you know what's bad? I've now gone 2 straight movies where I had to pee in the middle of the movie. I got up and went to the bathroom.
Jesus.
I know. I had a Cal Ripken-like streak of not peeing during movies, and now I am just
I don't know
regular,
if I've ever ever
Damon
use the
Buford.
bathroom during a movie.
Well, I've done it twice now in a row. It's two
Getting
really
old.
long movies, though. So
Simmons is old.
Simmons is old. Am I just getting old? Uh-oh. Halloween. Will your interest in this movie wane over time? I'll rewatch the first one again.
My interest is already weaned in the one day since I've seen it. I was like, this movie's not bad. This movie's solid. And then now I'm here like, I didn't really like the movie. I don't think I didn't hate it. So it's weaning. It's free falling currently. I'm glad we're recording today and not tomorrow because it might be fucking sinking tomorrow.
Speaking of sinking, Aquaterworld. Is this better than the 1995 classic Waterworld?
I mean, technically, yes, but it's in the same range, quite honestly. Like, this movie, Waterworld has probably more fun than this movie has.
Which would make a better stage play?
Waterworld, for sure.
Oh, I don't know. This would be pretty good at people dressing up like animals and like 5 people in a giant rhino costume.
Because I would love to see a stage play where there's just like an ocean on stage at all times.
All right. Credit Union. Who are you giving credit to?
I guess Denzel, right? Denzel is like carries this movie at points and is the most interesting character, but I don't know. I almost don't want to give him credit because there wasn't enough of him, but that's not his fault.
When life gives you Plemons, you make Jesse Plemonade. And I think the doctor in this movie, in the little amount of time we got him, is pretty solid.
Ravi was pretty good. Yep.
Yeah.
A couple of good scenes there, but again, the scenes are like kind of shoehorned in, so I didn't love them. I'll go Joseph Quinn here because we should have got more of him, and when he was on screen, he was great. He played a really great, unhinged bad guy.
Pants 10 City. Excite Bike Mania. What got you going in this movie? I really enjoyed that first battle, and everything else was good enough.
Yeah, the first battle was the best action sequence of the whole movie, and that comes, 7 minutes in?
From the start of this podcast, have you already changed your hot dog score on the dock?
I have. Yeah.
What in the world is happening?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's free falling.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for the rest of the movie one way or the other. That's why it's like, it's fine. It's boring. It's not bad. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a fucking poopy pants McGee on this one, but I didn't care for it. Goo. It tried for the pants tent scenes in the Coliseum. They just didn't succeed.
It did try for the pants tent. And I'll even say, so like, yes, the CGI is a little bit off in this, but
Bad.
I thought overall though, the set designs, the overall look of the Colosseum, the costumes, actually no, Credit Union, whoever did the costumes in this movie.
Sure.
Great job. Everyone looks great. Wouldn't you love a nice robe? You can really let yourself air out.
Denzel's costumes in particular were magnificent.
Yeah, if you were to rank the costumes, Denzel's at the top, right?
For sure.
I would say Pedro Pascal had some very nice robes because because he's a soldier, so he would have the shoulder pieces as well. I also like I like the look of the bodyguards too.
Yeah, so you had the Praetorian Guard versus the Roman army, purple versus red, so there was a nice little distinction there, but I don't know.
I also, and we saw it in the commercial for it, but, the armor that is eventually revealed. And yes, it is, remember the first one, but the armor's pretty dope.
Yeah, solid, for sure. And a nice little flashback to when Maximus is talking to Lucius in the first movie about the armor and what the lions are. Goo, as I'm thinking about this, by the way, you liked this more than Wicked, yes?
So, I'm not a good judge of musicals.
Okay.
That's why you're going to need to. I might even turn my microphone off for the Wicked podcast.
Well, the fact that I didn't love this movie is probably going to guarantee that I'm going to like Wicked more.
I also, I appreciate the cast of this movie not crying during all of their interviews like the cast of Wicked. Have you seen their interviews?
They're just having fun, It's a couple
they're all
odd people.
We changed people's lives. And maybe, I don't know, but come on, stop. For those of you tardy to the Mac and Goo Party, we rate everything on a 40 hot dog rating system. And Mac, as someone who believes the first Gladiator is a classic, yes, I'm in that boat. I am. No one else thinks that way besides me. But this is definitely a step below. It's very retready. It's very, hey, remember this from the first one. It's a little clunky at points. The pacing, like I thought the movie started out paced pretty well of getting back to Rome pretty quickly, getting into the Colosseum quickly, and then they needed a lot of things to happen too quickly. So like it should have been paced out a little bit better, but the movie's also 2.5 hours long. So I don't know what you want to do there. I liked a bunch of the characters, but none of them are close to the characters that we had in the first movie. I think the first movie, if you're tiering characters, would have 2 or 3 above what we got in this movie. And I'm not saying that the characters in this movie are bad. The other ones are just better. And like Maximus is one of those, like, he's one of those magnetic characters where, like, even if the dialogue isn't there, the way that it's delivered is. And I'm not sure this movie had anyone that could have done that. Mac, I have this at 31 hot dogs. C+.
Yeah, it's a fair score. So, admittedly, when I left the theater, I was
Mhm.
like, maybe is that in the 32 dog range? You know, I'm thinking about it. And then I'm looking at the movies I've seen this year in that range. And I'm like, no, I liked all of those movies better.
Yeah.
And then so now I'm trying to slot it in the year. And it just kept dropping, kept dropping, kept
Oh,
dropping. And the
also,
more I
in my
thought
review
about it,
right there, in my hot dogs, I only said the negatives. I said some positives just before it, and it's the look of the movie. It's the overall, like, grandiose Rome that's there. It's the, the scope of the movie. I think it looks really, really good, and I love the costume design, and I love how everyone really buys into, the period piece that it is. I also love people hiding behind pillars and listening to secrets. And in this movie,
dude,
we have plenty of it.
I think the movie was acted well from the
Yes.
3 characters I've mentioned already. I think really the driving force behind the quote unquote good in this movie is the underlying story of revenge always plays out. But to me, they didn't add anything to it. Like this movie came in right here, like they wrote this baseline revenge story that we got the exact same thing in the first one of, and they added nothing. So the movie never went up from there. And like the more I'm comparing it to movies we've seen this year and against itself from the past, the more it keeps dropping because it does feel lazy and it was boring and the set pieces didn't hit. So I have this at 29 hot dogs. It's my number 15 movie of 2024. It probably is like the start of the meh tier, like a C
Yeah.
minus range. It's okay. I don't think anyone's gonna hate this movie. But I think there's going to be some people really disappointed in it because it doesn't nearly get to the highs of the first movie. And also, like, if you're gonna make these movies, these legacy sequels, 24 years later, you really need to have something. Like, if this movie came out 2 years afterwards and it was a carbon copy of the first one, that's more fine than it is 24 years later. You
No,
know
but
what I
if that
mean?
happened back then, it would have just fallen into obscurity. I mean, this
As
one
this
probably
movie
will
is,
too. Yeah,
as
I
this
know.
movie's
But
going to
yeah.
be. So
Okay.
I think it gets killed more for being the same amount of lazy, but 24 years later. So I didn't care for this movie, and it's a bummer. And these are the types of movies I hate to review because I didn't enjoy it, I didn't hate it. It's just smack dab in the middle.
Shall we spoil?
Let's get to it. Spoilers,
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 spoilers, spoilers.
spoilers,
I will
spoilers.
say about the revenge, it at least changes several times. And while we know that Denzel is up to something, we know that, he's not just, he's not going to help out Mescal by the end. You are expecting the revenge to move from Mescal to the syphilis twins to, like, maybe that's where it ends. But it does eventually, it's not the revenge on Denzel. I guess it is because Denzel kills his mom. By the way, when Denzel kills his mom, do you think that was just there to be like,
Doesn't kill his mom, kills Lucius's mom.
yeah,
Kills
yeah,
Lucilla.
Lucius' mom. Do you think that was just to like tell the audience, this is the bad guy, just in case you guys missed it? This is the bad guy.
Right, right. So he's trying to eliminate anyone with a stake to the throne.
Mhm.
Um, but also, so he is easily the most interesting character in the movie, Denzel's Macronus. But in the beginning of the movie, it's not clear that he's a bad guy. He seems like he's a rogue agent
But
operating
that's
outside of.
okay.
Yeah, no, that's better, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yes.
And like you're not really sure of his motivations and whatnot. But as you come to find out, he's got his eyes on the throne or his
Mm.
eyes on the empire crumbling. The way his designs are played out doesn't really make sense because he's rooting for Lucius, but then has to root against Lucius. But then he's trying to feed Asius to Lucius, who Pedro Pascal's character. So like the most interesting thing is Denzel's pursuit of something, whether it's poorly written or not, because of his character and coming from the outside, which I wish we got more backstory there. And the second most interesting thing is the general of the Roman army trying to overthrow the empire. But that comes and goes within like 7 minutes. Like it's just,
Yeah.
they squash that so quickly that you're like, oh, that was kind of fucking useless. And then you never get a chance to see Lucius work with him. Like they really wasted the opportunity there. That could have come together much better than it actually did.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, you can't really talk about Denzel's character in this movie without spoiling. He is Jafar. He is Littlefinger from Game of Thrones. He's constantly working everybody to get to his end goal. And I also really would have liked it if you had this plan to make this into 2 movies and you let Denzel get away at the end. And maybe we don't solve the problem at the end. And the next movie can just be a bunch of Denzel.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about. I don't think they ever conceptualized a third movie, so that, like, I get what you're saying, but they could have done that in this movie, Goo, like more Denzel stuff in this movie, because it would be more interesting than the exact same story that we got. You know what I mean? Like the first act could have been heavy on Denzel, and then you introduce Mescal's character towards the end of the first half being bought by Denzel. You know what I
No,
mean?
it's
Instead of the vice
important to
versa.
know that Mescal's wife was killed, and that is his motivation. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done any of this.
Because there are good characters in here, but they don't play the right beats on these characters. So it's annoying. It's frustrating. Like it's just, I don't know. And you know what really pissed me off is clearly Macrinus and Thraex are like wagering, two guys that like betting on stuff. We see them place one wager, and then all of a sudden he's like, you owe me $10 million, so I'm taking your home. You're like, wait, what? When the fuck did that happen? You don't see any of that. And that like underworld of Rome is also more interesting than everything we got. So they just spent too much time on Lucius's story, and they didn't need to, because we already get the motivation there. We understand the motivation once you know who he is. So you could have spent that time on the underworld, or building Joseph Quinn's emperor character, or building Macrinus more. They just spent so much time on shit we already understood and already got.
I'm also so curious how those twins came into power.
Yes, 100%. How did they decide to make them both?
The end of the first movie is like you're at the same point as the end of this movie. So if they make another sequel in 20 years, they're going to be like, well, these other people came into power and now we need to get Rome back again.
It's interesting to see how like Lucilla gets pushed out, and those two, like there's plenty of interesting stuff that I'm sure happened, and we just don't see any of it. They don't talk about any of it. And instead we just get multiple scenes of Lucius in Gladiator prison, like the same shit we got in the first movie.
You want to change your hot dog score again?
Yeah, honestly, it feels like a 27 dogger to me, but because I like the revenge style stuff, and there are certain characters in this movie that are good, I'm at 29. It'll probably finish at 27, though. I can see that. But again, that's this, C- range. It's not, I don't even know if it's a good movie. It's fine. It exists. It's not bad.
This is a dumb question, and maybe I should know this as an Italian. How close is Rome to the ocean?
Rome is inward. I don't think Rome touches the ocean, but it's not far from the ocean. But that's why, the Roman army was in the quote unquote port of Rome, whatever city that was that Ravi had to go ride and get them. So Rome's probably, I don't know, 10 miles, 20 miles from the ocean. What's your Google Maps tell you?
Oh, no, I'm just Googling. Can you create seawater to house sharks? Because you have to get a lot of seawater to put those sharks in the Colosseum.
I mean, the Romans had a pretty extensive system in terms of like, I don't doubt that they could have got ocean water to the Colosseum. The sharks is the tough one.
But what are you thinking? Like a 18-wheeler or something?
No, aqueducts. Come on. I'm looking up Rome, Italy right now.
I'm going to stick with 31. I'm pretty fine with it being a C+. I had an enjoyable time, but not something that I want to get back to.
Yeah.
What does your Google Maps tell you?
So the city they mention in this movie, Ostia, is, I don't know what, but there's like one city between Rome and in the Mediterranean, so it's not too far.
Okay. let's get into Maxac. And Maxac could be anything it could be a boat. And with Thanksgiving coming up next week, we are here to just remind you once again that it is November, and November is the month of Movember. And while Mac and I do not have Movember accounts, well, we might technically have Movember accounts, but
I still
don't
get
think
emails.
I get emails as well. We would like you, in lieu of donating to us, please donate to Arvon D. Just head over to Movember, search Ryan Davies, search Arvon D. We'll put the link in the bio here. Please do that for men's health.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Also, with Thanksgiving coming up, that means that the Christmas season is truly here. It's not just Goo's Christmas season. It is the time to make children's holidays better. And the best way for that is to find anywhere there is. We're not telling you specifically to do what we do. We usually go to a boys and girls club, but donate toys.
Yeah, if you've got the means, if you got some extra bucks this holiday season, Goo's the one that turned me on to this, and it's a great idea. It's really, really easy. What we do, we contact our local boys and girls club. They have a list of kids in need of gifts, kids that don't have much, and they'll give you a couple kids, tell you roughly what they're into, and you can go buy gifts for them. And it's just a couple gifts here and there, and it goes a long way. It might be the only real gift a kid gets, so it's pretty fulfilling for sure.
Yeah,
pretty fulfilling for sure. And if you were a kid that spent a lot of time at a boys and girls club, it obviously is a nice way to give back.
Yeah, it's like last year, one kid wanted a foot bath, one kid wanted an oven mitt, the other wanted an iPod Nano. So, like, some things cost more than others, but that's how you show that you care. All right, so, Mac, next week we'll do Wicked at the Top. I've already seen it. Mac's excited to see it. And then
I don't know if I'm excited to see it. Cautiously
Mac
optimistic.
is so excited to see Wicked. We'll also, on Thanksgiving, we'll have a holiday special for you.
How about that?
Because we did not act Tierber this year, so we'll be no Tierbering instead.
I'm wicked fucking excited for Wicked.
It was a wicked pissing night at the Garden, kid.
Just do shitty Boston accents the whole review.
Oh, I'm in.
This movie was wicked.
I can't believe it. Davey put out
that
his
fucking kid do that fucking thing.
Davey put out his Mount Rushmore of rats, which first off, we're going to eventually do our top 10 movie rats
Keith
of all time.
did as well.
No, Keith did mice.
Oh.
Do you not know
rats.
the difference?
Oh, I sure do.
And he didn't even have the rat from The Departed on there. Has he even seen cinema?
That rat. I hate that movie.
That's the best rat of all time.
I think they were okay. Clearly, I'm in the minority there. I'm one of the few people that don't like The Departed, especially in this fucking area. I think there were people that really enjoyed the movie, and then when they got to the end and saw that, we're like, "Come on, why'd you have to do that? What the fuck? We get it. We understood it. The whole movie's about rats."
All right, so Keith's Mouse Rushmore was Mickey Mouse, Jerry, Speedy Gonzalez, and Mighty Mouse.
I might remove Speedy for a fourth there, but that's three or four pretty good.
I personally went the Basil of Baker Street, Feifel, Gadget from Chip and Dale, and Pinky, but you could substitute Pinky with the brain.
I think I might go Pinky or the Brain over Speedy, and that might be my four. I like Keith's three, though.
I'm all in on Basil of Baker Street, so give me him. You cannot take him out of mine.
You are a big Feifel guy, too.
Feifel Mouskowitz, not only in American Tail, but when he goes west.
There you go.
And then Wesley Burho pointed out, like, why don't you have Bernard in there from The Rescuers? And I made the point, sometimes in life, you have to make tough choices.
It's a great point. Real life lesson.
Davies Mount Ratmore, I can tell you right now, I have it here somewhere, was, let's see, he had Master Splinter, I agree, Ratatouille, Rizzo the Rat.
So I will say, I'm pretty sure Ratatouille's a mouse.
I think he's a rat.
I think he's a mouse. Yeah,
and he had Templeton from Charlotte's Web. That's the number one rat, by the way.
That's a good one.
A fair is a veritable smorgasbord.
I know Ratatouille gives off rat vibes, but that's
the name of the dish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Remy is a mouse.
I don't know enough about the situation to disagree with you. So I'll also say this, though, is at Disney World, at Epcot, they are really all in on Remy the rat. I'll say rat right now, but Remy, like Ratatouille stuff is all over Epcot. And I wasn't like, I know that it's a good movie. I actually like it like more than most Pixar movies, but
You
I
know
was
what? I'm
surprised.
looking at Remy. He's probably a rat.
Okay,
He's probably
but
a rat.
I was surprised by how much Remy was used at Epcot.
Yeah, you would think you wouldn't want to lean into the rodent in all of your characters, but it worked for Mickey, I
But
guess.
I'm also thinking more of like you want to put your most
Oh,
popular
throw
characters
Minnie
out
on there.
Minnie.
Justice for Minnie.
Nah. How about any of his kids? Do they have any kids? Because, you know, when you think of like kid Disney stars, you
Mhm.
think of Huey, Dewey, Louie. They're all ducks, though. You think of Max Goof. You know Max Goof, Goofy's son.
Yeah.
I can't think of any of Mickey's kids.
If you had to name a female and male offspring from Mickey and Minnie, what would you name them?
You don't say Mortimer, because I think that's the original name of Mickey. Or that's like an
Mortimer Mouse?
Mortimer? Or is that Minnie's friend, Mortimer?
I don't know.
Mice. You have to go M, right?
Yeah, Mickey, Minnie, Mouse. Yeah, have to.
Mac and Macarena.
Michael Mouse doesn't. It's too much.
No.
Major would be a cool name for a guy. Major
I know
Mouse.
if I was naming a mouse and I was still a kid, I'd probably name a Mousy Mouse or something like that. I was really creative. My stuffed animal raccoon's name was Raccoony.
I wish you'd come up with Raccacoonie.
If only. If only.
Which ties back into Ratatouille. There you go. Full circle.
All right. So that'll do it for this week. Check us out at the top of next week for Wicked. And then a fun Thanksgiving episode. Hibbidi-bip-bop-a-dap-a. Now it's time for girls jumping on trampolines. Tuesdays are Goose Days. And Tim Burton. I just had a stroke.
Bye.
Please flip the cassette over to side B to continue the adventure.
Now it's time for girls jumping on trampolines.